Okay, so we've seen a bunch of light reviews out there. You clicked on this video because you were wondering if the Molus G300 is a powerful enough light to shoot in a sunny day like today. Zhiyun did send out this light for me to review. They did not pay, or it's not sponsored. The way we're going to test out this light in this sunny bright day is a interview style setup. The first thing I want to do is set up my frame. So I roughly want to shoot in this direction. Now, when you're shooting outside with the sun, you don't want the sun to be in the frame. You also want it to be off to the side. So in this case, the sun is to my rear right. You want to set your key light on the same side at about like a 45-degree angle, slightly facing down. If the sun's there, you don't want to put it on that side because that will lead to a lot of sandwiching happening, right? So if you think about it, you had a light source coming from here and you got a light source coming from there, and it just naturally doesn't make much sense. So it's more motivated if you place your light over here. Anyways, let's stop seeing me in this underexposed state and let's make this look pretty. The way I'm monitoring myself actually is using the TP Shimbal Mini. I made a review on it. Let's see. That is too high. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to kind of take the edge off of this sun that's hitting me because it is very bright. So I'm going to set up this Manfrotto 4x3 diffusion frame. So I don't really know how many stops this is. It's definitely quite thick. So this is basically gonna go like that and act as a diffuser from the sun. The way I'm clamping this is I'm clamping it to some C-stands and some Cardellini clamps. If you're wondering, this is what a Cardellini clamp is. Basically the tube would just go between there and then you can just tighten it. I may as well just be in the shade at this point. I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot thicker than I thought it would be, just because it almost is acting like it's like blocking the sun. But it still is diffusing the light. So now that we got this set up, the next thing we want to do is our key light. This is the Molus G300. This is a 300 watt light that Zhiyun claims it can overclock into 500 watts in their boost mode. Now, this is a bicolor light. The great thing about having a bicolor light is you're able to adjust according to whatever lighting conditions you're in. I'm putting it on this cheap little light stand. And the reason why is not because I don't have C-stands, it's because look how light and small this light is. That's one of the huge pros about the Zhiyun, is the fact that it's so light and small. You can actually just put it on such a small light stand and it'll hold the weight. Right now we're about to try the G300 just with the reflector dish that's included. There is no diffusion, no softbox, so let's see how this looks. Oh, okay. We are now on boost mode. Obviously, once we put on softbox, or if you have a diffusion layer, this output will be reduced quite a bit. So let's put on that softbox and see what happens. So this is currently on the overclocked mode with a 95 centimeter softbox. And I currently have the honeycomb grid on as well. I'm gonna try taking off the honeycomb grid just to see if that would make a difference. All right, so this is the Molus G300 on max mode with just the softbox and no honeycomb grid. It's a bit on the darker side. I think we can still position the light a little bit closer. It's currently it's out of reach right now. I can't even touch it. There's still maybe another foot away from my arm. So I'm gonna bring it a little closer, see if we can get some more level, and we'll go from there. So this is the G300 on turbo mode. I am about arm's length away from myself at a 45-degree angle. This seems sufficient in terms of output level. Now I am just looking at the false colors here, and I seem to be falling in just in between the green and yellow on my face here. So far, I'm pretty impressed. This is the softbox without the honeycomb grid. I Did remove the interior layer, so this softbox actually has 2 layers of diffusion, just so I can have a little more output. I'm only using the larger diffusion cloth just to, you know, soften it and allow more output. Alrighty, so the next thing we want to do is add some negative fill on our left side, just to create more contrast, which creates more depth. I'm using a 48 by 48 Manfrotto floppy. Let's do that right now. And that's pretty much it. This is how I would film a interview setup outdoors with the sun blasting. So one thing you might be concerned about is the fan noise. So if you're doing interviews, will the G300 produce too much noise during your interviews? This is on full blast, so it's not the 500 watt overclocked mode. And if I listen closely, I will be able to hear it, but I don't think the mic would be able to pick it up. I will stop talking and then we can listen together to see if this DJI Mic 2 can pick it up. I'm gonna actually just bring my mic close to it just so you can kind of hear closely what it sounds like. So to recap this whole setup, we have the Molus G300 acting as our key light. We have a small rig 95 centimeter softbox, only using the large diffusion sheet, not the interior one. It's currently about 1 arm's length away from me. In order to take the edge off of the sun, I have 2 C-stands and 2 Cardellini clamps clamped onto a 4x3 frame from Manfrotto. I don't know if it's like a half or a full stop diffusion sheet, but seems fairly thick. And finally, on our left here, we have a 48x48 floppy by Manfrotto on a C-stand. And that's pretty much it. This is how I would light a outdoor setup. I'm glad that the Molus G300 was able to pull it off. I think it's definitely right on the cusp of having enough output, but it's doing the job. So this light also comes with an app. It's the ZY Vega app. Pretty simple settings that you can control wirelessly over Bluetooth. You can turn it off, turn it on. You can control the brightness settings, so all the way down to 0, approximately 50%, and then 100%. You can also change the color temperature. So it goes all the way from 6,500 Kelvin down to 2,700 Kelvin. You also have a bunch of set modes. So you have daytime, tungsten, all that jazz, pretty cool. You have CCT gels, which you can choose whatever you want. So cool. CCT pairing, so this is basically using the app and you can basically just select another light source, and if you want to match that Kelvin temperature, you can do so. Now let's talk about some of the cons about this light. Now the first thing I would say is it does not come with a case. Now, can you buy a case? Doing a quick Google search, it doesn't seem like the G300 has a case. That is a downside, because so far the way I've been bringing this light is I've literally just been throwing it into my backpack because it is small enough to do that, but there is no protection by throwing it in straight. The other con I actually didn't like, I was trying to unplug the cable that connects to the actual light itself, and I couldn't figure it out. Generally speaking, like all of my other lights just has like this this button you can just click and it just unplugs it. In this case, you actually have to like push in and then like hold that position and then pull it out, which is very weird and low-key kind of a struggle to do. When I was trying to figure it out, I was actually just unscrewing this little thing. But once I figured out how you can actually take it out, it's pretty simple, but it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's a weird design. So one of the other cons is, well, you know, there is enough level if you have the light really close to you, but I would say you're kind of limited to punching in because, you know, like you want to bring this light as close as possible. So if you plan on blasting this through like, I don't know, thicker diffusion or having the light further back, yeah, there's definitely not going to be enough level in that case scenario. You'll probably need like a 1200D. Other than that, like the price, this thing sells for $599. That's USD. Is it worth $599 USD? I mean, I'll kind of let you decide, but personally, yeah, honestly, for how convenient it is and how light it is, I'd buy it for that price. I do have a Godox VL300 that I bought like 4 years ago. It is quite a heavy light, and it usually just sits in my studio just because I don't want to bring it around with me. Having this overclock boost feature, also having it being bicolor, really, like, this is the light I'm going to be bringing. I don't really do interviews at all, so like the fan is never really an issue. When you're shooting like commercial work or stuff like that, you know, you're not gonna ever use the audio that's like really on location. It's not really that big of a deal for me. And yeah, overall, I'd say I love the light. It's great, it works. Hopefully this answers the question, like, can you use this light against the sun? You know what, just for the sake of this conversation, I'm gonna try getting rid of that. Let's see what this would look like if the sun was actually straight up just blasting me from behind, and if you could get away with that. So this is without the diffusion frame hanging from behind me. The sun's just straight up blasting from behind. We got the Molus G300, still have the negative fill on our left here. But yeah, that pretty much sums up this video. Hopefully you found this video helpful and you learned a thing or two. I sure did, because this is my first time trying this out, and really glad I have this light where I can actually film outdoor interviews, or if I just need a little more level. It's definitely not like a 1200D or anything like that, but you know what? For a solo one-man band crew, it'll do the job. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and see you guys next time. Peace.